Welcome back to Ration Nerd, everyone. Today, we are going to get into menu number 17, Sloppy Joe. And before I tell you what year this is from, I know it's old. We're going to get into the box so I can get the exact year off of it. I'm thinking this thing is 20 years old because the main is boxed, or at least somewhere in the 10 to 20 year range. We'll figure it out once we get in here and grab the date code. However, before we continue, this guy needs your help. If you like what I'm doing here on the channel and you happen to be watching this video with your dirty little eyeballs, could you do me a ginormous favor and hit the damn like button? Thousands of views on videos. Where's all the likes at? Like, if you're watching it, you must have liked it. So please hit the like button. If you don't mind, I would greatly appreciate it. It would help out the channel. If you like what I'm doing here at all, if you get even just the itty bitty little entertainment factor out of my dumb self doing these ration reviews, like button. And if you really like it, subscribe button. Or if you just feel generous and want to help a dude out, BOFUM. BOFUM, BOFUM. Alright, now let's crack into this menu number 17, Sloppy Joe, and see what we have on the menu for today. Like I said, before I say what year this is, which I have completely screwed the pooch on before, I want to get in here and get the date code off of it. So let's do that first. I can honestly tell you it's an older MRE just because the bags are just a bit thicker. Like, they were really thick back in the day. Alright, we definitely have the boxed main going on. We got some Sloppy Joe. We'll check that out in a minute. Hopefully that didn't delaminate and go foul. This is a flameless ration heater out of a US MRE. This will just get the food warm enough to piss you off, to make you realize that it's not hot, and it almost probably would have been better to eat it cold. So you know what we do with US flameless ration heaters here on this channel? We throw them away because they're about worthless. This is a hot beverage bag. That is probably the thinnest hot beverage bag ever. So you get a hot beverage bag. We're not going to use it, but we'll leave it on the table. We also have a carbohydrate electrolyte beverage powder grape. That ought to be meh, okay. I really don't know what the point was of them putting them in these huge bags, other than the fact that you would drink it out of the pouch. That is a ginormous bag, though. If you're drinking it out of the pouch, that's great. Where's your straw? We have a wheat snack bread. I hope that's still good. 164th day. Oh boy. Wheat snack bread. We have our ever fabulous, wonderful, strong, and crazy awesome US MRE spoon. That's always good. We have a cheese spread with jalapenos. Not too shabby. This is the 1.5 ounce portion, so we know we are getting into an older US MRE. So we're definitely going to want to mix that up like crazy because it's probably separated quite a bit. And that is okay. This stuff is, I mean, I hate to say it's a forever food, but I don't think I've ever had one of these that was bad. So that's kind of scary. I'm wondering what that does to your intestines when you're eating it. But, you know, jalapeno cheese whiz nut raisin mix. If anybody saw the Thai chicken review, this ought to be pretty interesting. This is going to, yeah, this is probably going to be real foul. But we'll check it out here. Nut raisin mix. Very nice. We have your standard accessory kit that looks like we have a coffee in there. I didn't get stuck with a tea bag this time. That's pretty amazing. We'll get into that accessory kit here in a moment. And then we have a fudge brownie from Sterling Foods. That feels not hard. It's still kind of squishy. Not real sure if that's going to be edible or not, but we will certainly find out. And that is it for Mr. Sloppy Joe. Before I even get this main boiling, because that is how I'm going to heat it up to give it the best chance of actually tasting decent, we're going to check this package for lamination issues. Well, I don't see any lamination issues. Not like the Thai chicken. The Thai chicken was having serious lamination issues. This, maybe just a tiny little bit on this corner over here, but otherwise, this seems pretty good. Not too bad. Alright guys, well I'm going to go get this boiling, and I will be right back with everything on the tray, and nice hot sloppy Joe filling. I'll see you in a moment. Alright, we are back. We've got everything out on a tray, more or less. Carbohydrate, electrolyte powder is kind of chilling off here to the side because it's like a trash bag sitting over here. So we'll get all these items open, then we'll get our Joe out onto the tray. Let's check out this wheat snack bread. I'm hoping that stood the test of time. It's got a little glistening surface on there. I'm not sure what's going on with that. That's always... does that smell stale? So this being from a 2010 production, it's really only 14 years old. So I would think, honestly, US MRE is as good as they store. Maybe it's just the fact that it's wheat. That smells funky. Damn it. I was really on hoping some of that bread with my sloppy Joe, but that might not be the case. Let's check out this nut raisin mix. Giggle, giggle. I'm sure. Oh, damn. I was really hoping that this stuff was still all going to be edible. This doesn't bode well for the entirety of the ration. Those bread products normally stay good for a really long time. So stale smelling. Let's try. I'm trying to get this fudge brownie out of here without destroying it. Although I'm not really that excited about it. If the bread is going to be nasty, the nut and raisin mix, you know, that stuff is only going to last so long. The oils and the nuts go rancid. But the brownie, oh man, Mr. Brownie. Alright, apparently I tore that like a retard on this end. Let me try to do it from this side. Just get brownie everywhere. It's kind of in pieces. That's no problem. Yeah, that pause was me looking at that weird crystallized stuff and wondering at it. Here, let's just dump it out. That looks odd. Inside of the package smelled pretty decent, though. It does not look great, if I'm being honest. Man. I hope this ration isn't a bust. I'm going to be salty if it is. Get a sniff on that. I really don't know what to say about that. It certainly smells kind of chocolatey, but it does have a weird smell to go along with it. You know, my disclaimer is, if this is the last video I ever make, you know what happened to me. Not that there's anybody to contact or anybody to complain to. This would totally be my fault. So I don't think anybody said, you should absolutely eat some 14-year-old MREs. That would be a great idea. Nobody said that. Nobody at all. Not going through the struggle session. We're just going to get that carbohydrate electrolyte powder right out of the trash bag it came in. Whew, that smells very artificial. Which it is, so I'm not even really complaining. I think the US could do better with its drink mixes in general. That is very blue for something that's supposed to be grape. That is okay. Get this spoon out here. That actually feels like it has real sugar crystals in it. I'm pretty amazed by that. You know what? As artificially weird and good as that smelled, I gotta get a taste of that real quick. Check out that bluish green color it's got going on though. That's crazy stuff right there. You know what? That's way better than the carbohydrate electrolyte grape that's in modern US MREs. Definitely got to give that a pat on the back. So the main is still getting the last little bit of heat added to it. We'll get into this accessory pack, see what came in there. So we've got some Tabasco sauce that I am very likely not going to use. We have some non-dairy coffee creamer, a moist towelette, a taster's choice coffee. Coffee's always good if it's good. Iodized salt. That's always good. We have Bumble Fingers in the house. We have a pack of matches. Matches are always nice. We have Splenda, which that's epic. Hold on. We'll talk about this Splenda in just 1 second. We'll set him there. Just hang out. You have your standard USMRE booger paper, good for one whole booger. And you have some cinnamon chewing gum. That stuff's always pretty decent. Now, back to this Splenda. I don't exactly know how I am supposed to sweeten anything with an absolutely empty pack of Splenda. I hope you can see that. There is absolutely nothing in there. That's super fail sauce. Get you an empty pack of Splenda. Like, ugh. Let's check out that coffee, because you know we have to. First, I want to see if there's any dry mold on these crystals. You know what? They look pretty decent. I do see some very fine, very shiny crystals. That may be the caffeine separating from the coffee. That's okay. It'll just make it taste a little bit more bitter. But I don't see any dry mold, so that is always a good thing. A little coffee stain on my hands. That never hurt nobody. All right, we're going to make a very small cup because I'm pretty sure this coffee is going to be weak as all get out. And then we'll give that non-dairy creamer a day in court. Give this a little mix. Now generally I like my coffee a little sweet, and I like the creamer to have dissolved, which this certainly hasn't. So we've got some chunkies in there, but it's not the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Let's give this a taste. That's actually way better than the modern US coffee type whatever they're rocking now. That's not super hateful. With a pack of sugar, that would be way better than it is now. But if you just like your coffee with cream, that's not hateful. That's probably about 3 ounces of coffee. It's not a whole lot. But it is a cup of coffee, albeit small, but it's certainly doable. It's, like I said, it's way better than the modern, like coffee type 5, 10, 6.0, whatever they're rocking now. But it's actually pretty decent. I suppose it is time to get the main attraction out onto the tray. So we have got this Sloppy Joe that just came off the boil, so it is absolutely really nice and hot. Burning my digits. It is way better to heat up a USMRE this way because the flameless ration heaters just don't do a great job. I think out of all the USMREs I've eaten, and I used to buy them by the case and eat them on a semi-regular basis because it's all I knew about back in the day. I think out of all the US MREs I've ever eaten, I think I've maybe had a half a dozen flameless ration heaters out of those work well. Everything else just makes it warm enough to make you angry. And that smells interesting. It certainly doesn't smell bad, doesn't smell sour. Kind of smells, well, like Sloppy Joe, and that's not the worst thing, considering that's what it's supposed to be. All that mess out onto the tray. See if we can't rescue some of these chunky meat bits that are hanging out in this retort pouch. Oh, without losing my fingerprints, although that could be really useful. Oh, damn it. Alright, so let's get to checking out this Sloppy Joe. That is really saucy. Kind of needs a side to go with it, almost like some rice or something to kind of soak up all this sauce. This is almost like chili. So it looks like we have some onions, some small pieces of tomato, some peppers floating around in here, which is nice. And then whether or not this is beef or whether this is textured vegetable protein is anybody's guess. That is absolutely a bean in this Sloppy Joe. I don't know about you guys, but I do not know anyone that puts beans in Sloppy Joe. Leave me a comment in the comment section if you add beans to your Sloppy Joe, but as far as I know, I don't know anyone that puts beans in Sloppy Joe. That's cheating, but there are certainly some beans hanging around in here. And that's about it. Maybe a few little onion flakes floating in there and some random seasoning bits. So we're going to get a taste of that in a moment. But I've got to figure out whether this bread is edible or not, because that's pretty hard. Figuring out whether this is edible is definitely going to make this meal way more or less palatable, depending. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little bite of that. That smells really stale, really weird. We're just going to do a little nibble. You know, for as dry and weird and stale as that smelled, it did not taste bad, which is surprising to me. I thought it was going to be kind of funky, so I'm going to go back for a larger piece just to double check that my taste buds aren't fooling me right now. I don't know why that even shocks me. It's absolutely crazy, the technology that can get a piece of bread to last for 14 years. That's pretty amazing. That's really cool. The one thing I can say about US rations is that they last and last and last. And the food technology that is involved in Sterling Foods making this wheat snack bread to the point where it can stay in a bag with just an oxygen absorber. The fact that this is good 14 years later is absolutely amazing. It's a little dried out, a little stale, but quite honestly, still perfectly edible. That is hands down amazing food technology. Not the greatest tasting thing on the planet. I don't wish it on our troops to have to eat on a regular basis. But as far as food storage technology, that's crazy amazing. So let's check out. I guess. This is the same nut raisin mix that was in that Thai chicken MRE that was super filthy. Of course, that Thai chicken MRE was older, but all right, I'm gonna go with two. I'm gonna go with two. I'll try two. Okay. Oh, there it is. Oh. Oh. Okay. Those nuts are definitely in the process of going rancid. Not nearly as bad as the nut raisin mix I had with the Thai chicken. Check that review out if you didn't see it. So those, you have to chew on them for a few seconds before you start to get that really nasty, stale, and rancid peanut flavor. We won't be eating any more of those. Just suffice to say that 14 years, like somewhere prior to 14 years is the cutoff limit for your nut raisin mix. That certainly has hit its hard, you shall not pass expiration date, because those are not being consumed, not at this ration table. But let's check out this Sloppy Joe. I have a feeling this is going to be just fine. It smells pretty decent. Let's check out that Sloppy Joe. Sloppy Joe. Definitely tastes like there's TVP in there. It's not bad. This honestly reminds you of most of the other dishes that have a tomato-based sauce. Not nearly as acidic and acid reflux inducing, which, like the USMRE chili, if you've ever had that, that'll give you acid reflux. Even if you don't have it, that evening you're like, oh God, I've got indigestion so bad. This is not nearly that bad, but it has that same generalized flavor as all the tomato-based US retort pouch foods. That said, it's not too bad. This bread is not going to lend itself well to making an open-faced sandwich. That'll just make an absolute mess of me and the table. But it's not super hateful. I'm certainly glad that I got it hot. If this wasn't hot, it wouldn't taste good at all. Let's give that a shout with some of this stale wheat bread. And that's pretty much where this wheat bread is going to shine. It's just being able to kind of scoop up some of the main and use it like a food shovel. That's pretty much where it's at right there. Just a little food shovel action. Yeah, that main absolutely is designed to be mixed with bread. I think if you get one of these or a menu similar to it, because you're not making a sandwich out of this. If you can somehow like get you a samurai sword and cut you 2 thin sheets of fake bread out of this, even if you did, this bread's not very pliable. It's just going to crumble to pieces and make a mess out of you. I think the best way to do it is just grab you some little bites of bread and put it inside of the main. Just kind of eat it that way. The main tastes way better with even the fake wheat bread in there. So it's definitely worth making a mess out of it if you have the room. Even if you had to eat it right out of the retort pouch, this is definitely possible. You might just have to break the bread up a little bit at a time and add it to your retort pouch. But this is definitely the way to go. It's the only way this main really actually tastes good. This ration isn't nearly as interesting as I was hoping it was going to be. The older US MREs just seem to have had fewer components. Sometimes they were much better, like the Thai chicken. I think the components that came in the Thai chicken, because the main had a side, was really excellent. I'm wondering if any of my US vets out there, if you ever had this Sloppy Joe menu when you were serving, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about this main and the whole meal itself. If I would have used the flameless ration heater to heat up this main, I would have had a vastly different opinion about it. The FRH would not have heated this up to a decent temperature, so the taste would not have been anywhere near as good as it is now, just simply because the temperature would have been so low. Any of the fats wouldn't have had a chance to reincorporate themselves into the rest of the dish, and it just would have tasted a lot worse being cold and not completely heated thoroughly all the way through. Boiling it is definitely the way to go. And we can't forget to put some 14-year-old cheese on there. I don't know what I was thinking. Ooh, that smells interesting as well. But then again, even brand new processed cheese in a US MRE smells kind of interesting, although that is not at all appetizing looking. Take a look at that. That's a little crazy. It just looks like a big, whatever. It looks like a big chunk of weirdness. Let me give it a nibble, I think. Oh. That's so weird. It's like cheese Jello? I've never had a US cheese spread do that before. Let's just get this out into one of the tray compartments and check it out, because that's really odd. It was like cheese Jello. Like it's congealed. It's no longer creamy. It's just kind of chunky. If you ever had US MRE cheese spread, you know that one of its characteristics is that it spreads, more or less. When I put that in my mouth to chew it, it was kind of like chewing on a hunk of old Jello. And that stuff is not at all very spreadable. Like, you see that piece there? Let me bring that up to you so you can see what I'm talking about. Like, that is a more or less solid hunk of cheese spread. We're not eating that because that is very odd. The texture alone is telling me that that's a bad idea. I guess I spoke too soon. That cheese spread just didn't survive the test of time. That really kind of sucks, because I have a feeling this could have certainly benefited from some of that jalapeno cheese spread. But now it's just jalapeno cheese Jello, and we're not going down that road. Sorry, guys. Like, I'm willing to try stuff, but that's got a really weird texture. I've never seen cheese spread come out of a package like that. And I've eaten some pretty old US MRE cheese spread. That is the only one I've ever seen that congealed like that. That is really odd. You know, it would really be nice if the US did something kind of like the Canadians have that hamburger bun. That would be an excellent addition to a US MRE, especially if you were going to do something like a Sloppy Joe, because you could actually split that bun and make an actual Sloppy Joe sandwich. That would be pretty epic if the US would get on board with having an actual bun inside of an MRE. Tell you what, so far the best thing in this MRE has absolutely been this grape electrolyte beverage. And now we got this crazy, crumbly, shelf-stable brownie that's got some weird sugar crystallization going on. We're just going to go for it. Are you ready? I'm ready. I'm not ready. I'm having a hard time determining if that's good or if my taste buds are broken. Maybe I need a palate cleanser. Let me screw up my taste buds a little bit with some old coffee. Hang on. I still had a little bit of grape lingering around in my jaws, so let's try this again. What do you think? Would you do a bite? I don't know. I'm doing it though. I'm doing it. We're checking it out. That's not too bad. It's definitely stale, but not inedible. It's very sweet, very chocolatey. All the sugar has crystallized. A lot of it has moved to the exterior, and that's okay. It's really not that bad. It's just a little excessively dry at this point, but it's certainly very sweet and chocolatey. I mean, quite honestly, it's edible. I think back when this thing was fresh, it probably would have been pretty excellent. There's a lot of crystallization of the sugar that's in this item. That's okay. Kind of gives a little bit of a crunchy texture while you're chewing on it. It's actually pretty good. I'm surprised with the bread not really being all that great. The cheese going bad, that one really kind of weirded me out. I thought that stuff would be, like if you were in the Fallout video game, you'd be like, oh, you'd be trading packs of USMRE cheese for bullets or something. At least one item in this ration was actually pretty yummy. We'll see if our matches held up. I'm sure they did. Not too bad. It's a match. It'll work. See if our moist towelette stayed moist. And it absolutely did. Because this moist towelette is probably the only way... I was about to say, this moist towelette is probably the only way you're going to get a clean butt with that little pack of booger paper. And then that is not the way you're going to get a clean butt. Do you know what this is? This is exactly how you're going to get dirty fingers. Not a clean butt, dirty fingers. So, yes, that towelette stayed moist. No, you're not using that in combination with the booger paper to try to affect a single butt wipe. Not happening. Unless you have some extra booger paper laying around, maybe you can shore this thing up. But yes, the answer to the question is, yes, this stayed moist. Oh, what the heck. All you Tabasco lovers out there are probably always grumpy that I'll open the Tabasco. I really, really don't like Tabasco, but we will open it up and just pour it out onto the tray so you guys can, so that way you Tabasco lovers can get a look at it. We try to please everybody here. And you know what? You know what? That still had a pinkish red color to it. See if we can... Yep, not too bad. If you were a Tabasco guy, you'd be happy with throwing some of that nasty Tabasco sauce in your food. Not for me, though. I think the only thing this hot beverage bag is good for is maybe if you're like riding in a helicopter or in the back of a Humvee or something, and you're one of those motion sickness guys. That's probably what this hot beverage bag is, like the only purpose of it. And then, you know, after you're done getting sick, you can just zipper it back up and just, you know, sit it down by your feet and wait for the ride to be over. That's good stuff right there. Oh, that Tabasco sauce stinks. Ugh. Thank you guys for joining me here on Ration Nerd for menu number 17, a Sloppy Joe. This one really didn't stand the test of time. There were, well, some items that just didn't make it, and that's a bummer. But you know what? Stuff happens. I wasn't storing this ration. I got it in the last few months. Just been kind of incubating it, so the storage conditions definitely dictate whether or not these items stay good. Obviously, peanuts have a finite lifespan regardless of how you pack them. Some methods are better than others. This method just doesn't work over long periods of time, and that's nothing wrong with the MRE. That's just the nature of nuts. Too much fat inside of them, they go rancid. That cheese sauce, however, that is some weird jellified jalapeno Jello. That certainly, I've never seen one do that before. Maybe it got some air introduced into it. I'm glad I only took the tiniest of nibbles, but that was definitely odd. So thank you guys for coming along for the ride. Kind of sucks there weren't more items in this ration that were good, but that's just the way it goes. I'll definitely be back at you with a longer review here in the near future, because I've got some cool rations here, and well, look at a pile of them over there that really need to get on this table and be reviewed. We will get to that, I promise. As long as you guys keep coming back, I'll keep doing this. So that's the deal. You come here and watch this, I'll sit here and do this, and then we'll all just kind of, yeah, that stuff. But if you guys appreciate what I'm doing here with the channel, I need your help. Like you guys, I need you guys to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, talk to me in the chat. It is always great to hear from you guys. It has been a pleasure hanging out with you, reviewing this old stuff. I will see you on the next one. If you can find something cooler than this to eat, you guys know what to do. Eat 'em up.